I'm at the Kidron Valley, and I just entered to the Jewish cemetery. Now look at that. What's about who's buried here? Sadly, we don't know. In 1948, Jordan occupied that place. The Mount of Olives became to be part of Jordan in 1948 until 1967. The Jordanians robbed most of the tombstone, and they use it for their roads, for their houses, and we found only few. Then, for example, we brought back that and that. If you look at that area, you can see that some of them are naked, some of them are with a piece of tombstones. We know who's buried in that area. Then we could bring it back to them, but we didn't find the other tombstones. That cemetery is such an important cemetery for the Jews, because they know that when the Jewish Messiah, and sadly not Jesus, then don't start to argue with that, not for the Jews, they believe that they will be the first one who will resurrect. In a way, when Jesus will come again, that will be resurrection for the Christians. And if we're talking about that, behind that wall, it's a Christian, mostly Catholic priest cemetery, but there is one at Mount Zion as well. Then in that case, that will be the first one who will resurrect when Jesus will come. The same thing is for the Muslims. Allah one day will come from Mount of Olives, and he will build a bridge between Mount of Olives to Jerusalem, and the people, the good Muslims, will cross it safely. Then here you can see, for example, another tombstone. Now, how the Jews are actually being buried? If you are a Christian, exactly like Jesus. What? Exactly like Jesus. Before we will talk about it, I want you to see the eastern wall of the temple. And one of the rules of the Jews is to be buried outside the city. Jesus was buried outside the city. You cannot bury it inside the city unless something bad will actually happen and you have no other choice. By the way, Garden of Gethsemane is right there. Then in that case, when a Jew dies, especially when he is a religious guy, and he died because of natural reason, they will bury him at the same day. What do you mean bury him at the same day? When the day begins? Midnight? No. According to the Jews, a day begins at sunset. Actually, an end at sunset as well. Then if today it's Sunday, and by the way, for the Christian of us, this is the resurrection day of Jesus, and sadly I cannot enter even the old city to reach the Church of the Holy Sepulchre to celebrate the resurrection, or I try even to enter to the garden, to the second option, without any success. Then in that case, the day begins at sunset. Then if a Jew die now, they will bury him before sunset, quickly. And if we are going back to Jesus, Joseph of Arimathea, who was a Jew, just like Jesus, begged Pontius Pilate. He asked him to get the body of Jesus and to bury him before sunset. And the answer was, yes, you can get it. Then they took the body of Jesus They purified the body, they put a shroud around him, and then they bury him without a casket, without a coffin. Just like every Jew here. Without a casket, without a coffin, straight into the ground from ash to ash. Then the burial site of Jesus was a totally a Jewish one, because he was a Jew and it was a Jewish tradition. Here you can see a lot of old tombs, but not only. From time to time you can see new tombs. The Jews prefer to be buried here because it's, remember, resurrection. The resurrection day, at the resurrection day, they will be the first one. There's a lot of things in Hebrew on each. Here, that's going to be easier for me. What we know about him, his name was Tzvi Yasrich. He is the son of Joseph and Yahel. He was murdered by British officers in Jerusalem. His tomb was found again, because remember the tombstone was taken, and they rebuilt it when he actually celebrated. You can say celebrate is 75 years for his death. Then I didn't know that story, but you know, when you're reading it, you're finding so many options. For example, we found here the tombstone, but it will be difficult for me to read it. Asihil, difficult for me. Now that was a surprise. If we're talking about surprises, what's that? We will talk about it soon. But I have to find my way without destroying or without standing on tombstones. Do you really think that I'm so tiny? Oh, yeah, I'm so tiny. Oh, no. Yeah, did it. There are famous rabbi who actually been buried here, and Begin, Prime Minister of Israel, is buried just upstairs, and so many other famous Jews. For example, this is Rabbi David Nissan. He was he prepared a lot of miracles. That's what the sign actually say. It's wartime. I might hear the siren, and if I hear the siren, the only best thing for me to do is to lie down on one of the tombs, between one of the tombstones. There's a tradition to put some stones on top of the tombstone. We are not sure why. It can be we are building another stone into the third Jewish temple. We're marking that place. We just show that we actually came to here. You name it. We can find so many options for that. Mother, the wife of Elijah. Then she's Lulu, Elijah, wife and husband. Next to it always will be a man. Here it's even from the same family, Abraham Smith. And Yaakov. And next to it, Fortuna, which was the wife of Yaakov. Let's go to see that tombstone. I mean, it looks so weird and different. If you're watching my videos, you know what it is. If you're not watching my videos, this is the time to subscribe. I do more than 22,000 videos. I have to get used to the 22 and not 21,000 videos. Let me see if I can climb up just to show it for you from upstairs. And then we will walk down to show it to you from downstairs. Again, look how many tombs are here without tombstone. Now we know why. Ooh, spooky. Look at that beautiful monument. That is from 1st century. Now, from that part, not including the dome, it's one monolith. Like Petra. Above, it's an additional part, but this is not the tomb. This is the nephesh. The Jews believe that the soul of the person is still in the body for the first 3 days. If we are going back to Jesus' time, you must understand that he came to resurrect Lazarus after the 4th day. Then the soul is not supposed to be there. The sign here actually tells us about the resurrection of the cemetery. It's one of the oldest, it's not one of the oldest, I think it's the oldest. Don't ask me what is that noise. All right, I don't know what is that noise. We don't want to know what is that noise. But it's the most active Jewish cemetery in the world. All right, now when we know it, let's go to see that amazing monument from downstairs. I know that the stairs supposed to be somewhere here. Ooh, almost fell. Then the soul is there, and according to him, the soul goes out from the nephesh, from the upper part. Now that building, which is so beautiful, is not hollow. Remember, it's monolith. It's a rock. Yeah, found the stairs. All right, please God help me. Yoo-hoo, we did it. And let's start with that it's from the 1st century AD. But according to the Bible, we know that Absalom, the son of King David, knew that he might die because he's against King David, and no one will bury him. Then he decided to build himself a grave, a tomb, before he dies, then in that case, that is the place that, according to what we believe, he was buried. But remember, he was buried many years before that. Then maybe someone renovated for him, or it's not his tomb. Jehoshaphat tomb, that's how they used to bury the dead at the ancient time. Caves, a burial cave, a rock-cut cave, and that's Jesus was buried in a rock-cut cave as well. They buried few people in so many different niches, but when they found out that there's no more place to bury the dead, they actually took the bones of the ancient bodies, put it in a small box by the name Osiri, and then someone else could be buried there. Why it's very important for me and why it's very important for the Christians to understand? Because Jesus got a tomb that no one used before, a virgin tomb. That's why Jesus was buried exactly like every other Jew. Absalom rebellion against his father David. Remember what's happened to him in the end? Guys, now we know better about the burial of Jesus, which is the same as burial of the Jews today. And I will climb up now all the way to there and continue our tours, although I cannot enter to the city due to the war. And it's not because the Israelis doesn't want me to enter, it's because it's not safe, and you must understand it. No Jews, no Christians, no Muslims can enter to holy sites in the whole city because the Iranians are targeting, the Iranian regime are targeting the whole city. They don't mind about the Al-Aqsa Mosque. They don't mind about holy sites here. They already target the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and they actually target the Al-Aqsa as well. Thanks God, Israel stopped him from a major destruction. Thank you very much for being with me. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in my next video. Bye-bye.